Hey there. It's Cutter again with more Degrassi Next Generation Characters. We left off at Paige, now we gotta go to Peter. Peter, of course, was Hatzelako's son. He was outed as Hatzelako's son in the second episode of season 5. He spent many years in homeschooling. He takes advantage of Manny after she becomes drunk and films her burying her breast. He uses the footage to get revenge on Manny for spurning him by mailing it to the whole school. Practically, he wanted Manny to be with Manny, not Emma, even though Manny was trying to help Emma out. Unfortunately, he does get to be with Emma, and everyone's like shocked how he managed to be with Emma. Basically, Emma couldn't keep herself from being with Peter. It seems to be a toxic relationship kept in secret, but Manny exposes them. However, Peter does help Emma deal with her eating problems, her eating disorder. They're seen together as a decent power couple, and then all of a sudden, Sean ended up in the picture. After being told what Sean and Emma's friendship was like, Peter decided to try to destroy Sean and basically put store of drugs in Sean's locker. Then that leads to a street race in which Peter and Sean accidentally run over a guy. Peter gets community service and stays with Emma. However, Emma finds out that Peter, after putting a mask in Emma's locker, basically she figured out that he planted the drugs in the locker to get rid of Sean. So he decides to date Darcy, but unfortunately Peter screws up and almost gets Darcy into an internet stalker with racy photos. I don't know what was with Peter. Peter actually emancipates himself in after season 7 when his mother was headed to Regina to deal with her ailing mother. And Peter's dad did not want to deal with him. So basically he lives on his own to stay with Darcy. And then when Darcy goes to Kenya, he develops a friendship with Mia. Now remember, Darcy's season 7 downward spiral was helped out by it wasn't hindered by Peter, it was helped by Peter bit. Because Peter helped Darcy deal with her rape and all that. Mia decides to go to Paris after signing a money contract, and Peter is angry. Unfortunately, he becomes addicted to crystal meth, and he's got to go for rehab and all that. So basically, yeah, his mom comes back to deal with Peter. Peter is seen in Degrassi Next Class a few times. Next is Riley Stavros. Riley cannot accept his homosexuality. He tries to take steroids to make himself attracted to girls, but he can't. Unfortunately, Riley has a lot of anger toward an angry homosexual. He punches a lifeguard who's gay. He becomes comfortable with being gay after having feelings for Saint. However, the student body didn't like it. So, anyway. Yeah, Saint and Riley. Good old Sav Bradari is next. On again, off again relationship with Anya because of his Muslim upbringing. He forms a band that starts with Peter, Danny, and Spinner. Aya wants to help Sav. Well, wants him to have sex with her in the spring formal because of his arranged wife. But she lied about taking birth control. So basically, Sav and Holly J go for student council president. Holly J wants Anya to fake a pregnancy to make Sav drop out of the election. However, the fake pregnancy was used to the advantage, and Holly J got pissed off. Now remember, in season 8, Sav could have been a student council president, but the chef decided to give Holly J the role, I guess because of her Lakers connections. All that. So anyway, he actually ends up stealing his father's truck to try to go to a concert. He actually ends up falling for Miss O, the media, like the English teacher. Thankfully, though, that relationship doesn't blossom. Here comes Sean Cameron. Sean has a violent past and sent to Toronto by his parents to keep him out of trouble. He has an on-again, off-again relationship with Emma, which he busted in season 1 by accidentally striking her in a fight with Jimmy. They do kind of get together in the end of season 2. Mostly at Spike and Snake's wedding. And basically everything's fine. But by season 3, Sean is upset that Emma has little time for him. Mostly because Emma has to deal with a new sibling and Snake's chemo. So basically he joins Jay in his gang. All that. Emma's not too happy about it. Sean and Ellie become an item. And when his brother moves to Alberta, Sean wanted to stay behind and get his graduation from high school. So he gets emancipated, thankfully. Ellie actually moves in with Sean because of her mother. And he saves Emma's life as he tries to wrestle a gun out of Rick's hand, causing the gun to go off and shoot Rick, killing him. He has bad feelings about the school shooting. He visits his parents from Mississauga to confront them because they made some kind of statement for him. Unfortunately, the combination of his parents saying that they had to send him to Toronto to keep him out of trouble because of what he did to Tyler. And also the fact that Sean felt terrible for how the shooting went down. Thinking that he accidentally killed Rick. He killed somebody. Although the police would definitely have noted it was an accident. And besides, Sean was being heroic. And like Not a Vampire's video said that Sean was trying to reason with Rick. That's what the police are taught to do. Try to reason. And then go for the gun if all else fails. Now, I know this is controversial, but I think Sean also might have been thinking, why did I tell Jay and Spinner and them to go after Rick? Remember, when Rick spray painted their cars and all that, Jay wanted to go to the ranch with it, but Sean said, I doubt it, because then they're going to have to explain themselves why Rick would do such a thing. But anyway, he returns to Degrassi and somehow gets with Emma and all that. But, of course, you know, he had that drag racing accident and got put in jail. Thankfully, though, Emma saves his bacon and Sean's released from jail and all that. So Sean and Emma have a relationship. Unfortunately, though, they have to deal with JT stabbing and, you know, Sean wants to go to the army to better himself. Emma is not too happy about it. But she knows that she can't stop Sean. Here comes Shay, a freshman who likes sports and all that. Remember the power squad that was in Degrassi Nudes? Of course, this is not next class stuff. That's the rule. Here comes Spinner. Spinner has ADHD. That's why he's named Spinner instead of Gavin. He's a school bully in his early years. He actually hates Marco because Marco came out to him. But he accepts Marco's sexuality and helps him out getting a date and all that. He gets into a relationship with Paige, and basically it was a decent one. But unfortunately, with Paige being away from Spinner to try to pay for Spinner's car, Spinner has feelings for Manny. Unfortunately, though, that relationship, well, of course, Spinner and Paige break up, and then that relationship breaks up after it was told that about Spinner's role in putting Jimmy in the wheelchair. He is expelled because he confesses to Hatzalakos that he bullied Rick before the school shooting and that the paint and feathers prank was his idea. His and Jay's. They don't tell about Alex. I think they want to save her, but he does get allowed to come back in season 5 to Degrassi. And he does. He actually dates Darcy and wants to be a born-again Christian. Unfortunately, Darcy has hypocritical behavior and Spinner breaks up with her. In season 7, he has testicular cancer and goes through a period of reckless behavior. But after seeing Jane, he actually rebuilds his self-worth. He is actually shot during burglary at the dot, but he recovers. Basically, Spinner is lonely. Jane cheated on him with Declan. And then when Emma took a shift at the dot and accidentally put the dot on fire, he's in a deep depression. Emma tries to cheer him up by taking him to a casino, but they drunkenly get married. They actually have a celebration to recommit their vows. So basically, Spinner and Emma are still together somehow. Terry McGregor is next. Terry is the daughter of a widowed father. She's best friends with Ashley, but is very insecure about her overweight appearance. Unfortunately for haters, her plus-size model career improves her self-image. She starts dating Rick Murray. Unfortunately, Rick becomes emotionally and physically abusive and pushes her down, causing her head to hit a rock. Terry is written off the show by saying that she went to a private school. And she does recover from her coma, so thank goodness for that. And of course, as I keep saying in my tidbits, Christina Schmidt actually went to the same high school as I did. Oh, she's in Bradford, eh? Cool. Yep. So yeah, she left the show to do her career modeling. So yeah, it's amazing. Oh, she has a kid now. Cool. Well, Christina Schmidt went to the same high school as I did. I think at the same time, but she wasn't really there. Tiny was in a gang at one time, and he decides to quit. Well, of course, this is pre next class. Toby Isaacs. Toby is the stepbrother of Ashley and is actually JT's best friend. He's very Jewish because he reveals that his grandparents died in the Holocaust in the same episode in season 2 that Hazel has to hide her Somalian heritage and all that. He's a very big geek because of his interest in computers and anime. He suffers from bulimia when he joins the wrestling team. Basically, he loses weight on purpose because he knows that Sean's a star wrestler. Well, Toby was trying to make people think that he's somebody. Unfortunately, his bulimia cost him dearly and all that. But it didn't cost him Kendra. He dates Kendra, who's Spinner's younger sister. Well, adopted sister, because Kendra is Chinese. So basically, they end up breaking up. He's deeply affected by JT's death and couldn't trust Lakers students. So basically, Toby was basically a decent character, and then basically his storylines were cut down and all that. Tori Santamaria, played by Alex Steele. Despite her spoiled background, she has a positive attitude and is friends with Tristan and Maya. She's a beauty pageant queen and all that. The funny thing about Alex Steele is that she actually was a character in Degrassi Next Generation before Tori. That's right. Alex Steele was Angie Jeremiah, as in Craig's half-sister and Joey's daughter, during the first 5 seasons. And Angie moved away. Tristan Milligan. It's kind of funny. I thought Tristan didn't have a relationship. Didn't have a sibling who went to school. But that was Owen's younger brother. Surprised. Tristan actually, the funny thing is, in season 11, Tristan was portrayed as being very chubby and all that. Not the skinny guy we know now. He suffers a heart attack with a cleanse. So anyway, he develops a crush on Mr. Yates, the English teacher. Unfortunately, Maya reveals the affair because it was the right thing to do, but Tristan is basically yelling at Maya and all that. He ends up being friends with Maya again. Thank goodness for that. Wesley Benenkamp. Wesley is a nerd at Degrassi. He's best friends with Connor and Dave and starts a band with them. He wants to impress Anya, but couldn't do it. He tries to do a lot of things, but not really a lot. A lot of Degrassi Reddit posts past week have said something about Wesley. And good old Winston Chewy Chew, a sarcastic boy, Miles' best friend who's enrolled at Degrassi. He slanders Drew's reputation because he feels that Drew's presidential authority is not being used. the way he wants. So he basically harbors a crush on Frankie. And Winston was the guy who was basically trying to blackmail Degrassi nudes and all that, trying to help Frankie get back on the power squad. But that fails miserably. Same Park, I don't think it was Chinese because the actor Shannon Kook Chun, I think that's Korean. Anyway, an openly gay student at Degrassi. He has an on again, off again relationship with Riley. Basically, Sane tries to help with Riley. Now that Sig comes from a poor home, he actually has an attraction to Maya, and basically was partially responsible for why he got Cam to kill himself. Basically, he tells Cam that if you love Maya, get out of her life. Cam commits suicide. Basically, he feels guilty about it and acts out. He takes up residence with Maya's family after Maya finds out his parents kicked him out and he lives in an abandoned house. He tries to get out of gang life, but it's hard to do. So, yeah. So, anyway, Sig and Maya admit to Maya's parents that they're having an attraction. Maya's mom does not get mad, but she doesn't want Sig living with Maya. So Sig moves in with Tiny and Vince. Because that was kind of strange. Zoe Rivas, who was a star on a reality show, basically self-centered, seasons 13 and 14. The problem is that Zoe was involved in a sexual assault, thanks to Luke and another boy. All that. She wins the case. Zoe actually ends up being on the power squad at Claire's expense. She creates a website where guys can pay money to get anonymous naked pictures from the power squad. Zoe tries to accuse Frankie for the entire scandal because Frankie got kicked out. After Winston finds out that Zoe's behind the nude photos at the frame of Frankie, he tries to blackmail her in order to exact revenge. After his identity is revealed, Zoe and the power squad are put in detention and Principal Simpson's fired because he allowed all this trouble. This causes a strict Principal Pill to take his place, who disallows the use of cell phones. And basically, students hate Zoe. Zoe tries to make up for it. Unfortunately, she fails. Well, Zoe is put in the lunch lady service because of her acts. And the fact is that Zoe was upset because Zoe could have been charged with distributing child pornography for 5 years in prison. Zoe's in summer school. Basically, Zoe wants to leech off someone to pass, but unfortunately, it fails. Well, that's the adult. How about the adults? Snake has been was in all the seasons of the Next Generation Race, 1 to 14. He was a student and now he's a teacher, the media immersions teacher, and eventually the principal of Degrassi. He ends up marrying Spike and becoming Emma's stepfather. Spike and Snake give birth to a son, Jack, which has been controversy because people are like, what would Jack Simpson be like now? But anyway, yeah. So anyway, he's the godfather of Connor. He is diagnosed with cancer, but thankfully goes into remission. He basically kisses Hatzalakos in a secret tryst with her. Emma basically outs them out. Spike is upset, not just because Snake would cheat on her with Hatzalakos, even though it was an innocent kiss, but because he was pressuring Emma to keep it a secret, and Emma couldn't really keep secrets. But thankfully, they made up. He actually ends up staying with Joey at his place. Snake was falsely accused of bad behavior by Darcy because Darcy was trying to hide her own problems. It was suspended from Degrassi. Thankfully, though, they investigate. Well, even though that Darcy did admit to everything, that she put Simpson in a bad spot, the investigation still had to go on. He's basically put on leave after Degrassi nudes and all that. He actually returns to his position as principal in Degrassi next class. I think that the school board basically was just investigating him and basically said that, you know what, we just need someone to play out the thing. And of course, Snake is the first person on Canadian TV to say the F word in the movie School's Out. They don't say anything about Pill, or the Shep. There's a lot of things. Anyway, they didn't talk about Pill and Shep in the adults part. But anyway, Deidre Pill was put in season 14 basically to play out the string after Snake gets put on leave. Her policies were strange. Well, her no cell phones and backpacks policy, fair enough. I could take that. Her well, and then there were two policies she had that basically ticked me off to no end. The cameras in the hallway. Okay, cameras in the hallway just to see what other people are doing. Understandable, but she puts it with audio, basically trying to see what people think of her, and if people think hatred, put hatred towards her, she tries to put them through backlash or whatever. The main example was when Claire finds out that Pill found out everything about Claire's miscarriage through the cameras. She smashes the cameras up. Claire is put into massive suspension and loses her valedictorian spot to Connor. Pill's other policy, being the no affection policy, was kind of pathetic, if you ask me. I mean, she basically gets mad at Drew for a little promposal towards Becky. Basically, she tells Drew, even though you're student council president, you're not allowed to be at the prom. And Drew took it under consideration. However, a few scheduling mishaps give Drew the power to go to the school and put the prom on there. Of course, Pill's not happy because Drew was the only one to know the passwords, other than her. She actually asked Drew if someone put him up to it. Drew didn't rat anyone out, and as a result, he's not allowed to be on the stage when he graduates. He sits off to the side. However, his mom's proud of him, though. But Pill does relent when all the graduating students have something towards Drew. So she basically admits that everyone has solidarity. She is, of course, not allowed to come back to be principal of the next class. There are many reasons why she could have been canned. The main one, of course, would be basically she was just a substitute until they realized that Simpson is good enough and then allowed him to come back to the school. But her behavior towards the students could have also factored in the school board's name. I know that Drew's mom basically was part of the school board and could not have the massive effect to fire Pill, but she could basically tell the school board information about Pill, and basically they make a decision based on that. Pill screwed herself up. I mean, I know she wanted to fix Degrassi, but she basically alienated herself from them. And then, of course, Shep, who was the principal of Lakehurst before it burned in season 7. He wasn't in season 7, which was strange. But anyway, in season 8, he comes in, he becomes a principal and a sexist principal of that. Basically, he favors Lakehurst students, not just Lakehurst students, but basically people with bodies, and does not like nerdy students like the gifted class. Unfortunately, in a video about him getting Principal of the Year award, which still ticks me off, it's like, how the heck did Shep get a Principal of the Year award? I mean, they probably might have wanted to give it to Hatzalackos, and they probably didn't want to give it to another school, because Degrassi might have been well due. However, Degrassi basically yeah. So, yeah. A lot about that. And then basically, the video where he yells at Claire and everyone basically gets him in trouble, and everyone walks out on his award speech. So basically, he's put in sensitivity training. He does do a decent job, but unfortunately, by season 9, he's out the door and Hatzalackos goes back. Talk about Caitlin Ryan. We talked about Caitlin in the OG era. In Next Generation, she has a long on again, off again relationship with Joey. She's a TV journalist who basically steals Ellie's editor away from her. She tries to become engaged with her, but she breaks off the engagement to get a position at on a national news magazine. So basically, Joey doesn't take the news well and all that. And of course, Caitlin basically fools around with Kevin Smith in the season 4 season finale and basically leaves Joey crestfallen. Dan Radich, the English teacher in Degrassi Junior High and assistant principal in Degrassi High. Now that he was made principal of Degrassi Community School. His first name was actually finally revealed to the Degrassi fans in season 3 because when Snake talks to Raj about the Saturday detention stuff, he calls him by Daniel. The funny thing is that Radich and Dr. Sally are the only 2 Degrassi Junior High / Degrassi High adult characters who appear on screen in Next Generation. But anyway, basically, season 4, he was transferred out because the school board felt he mishandled Rick's bullying, which led to the incident. Of course, there were a lot of more factors towards his ouster in season 4. Not just because the actor probably wanted to leave, but because, a lot of things. So basically, yeah, I spent a lot of videos talking about this guy and all that. And basically, I could say that I think the school board was going to get rid of him, even if he didn't overreact in the aftermath with the school play not being Dracula and all that. And then replacing Radich was Hatzalakos. She was science teacher until Raj got transferred out. She actually had a fling with Snake, which was creepy. She moved to Regina to be near her mother. And then she ends up coming back in season 9 as acting principal when Shep can help anything. But she decides to give Archie, aka Snake, the job as being new principal after season 9. Of course, Joey, as we saw in Next Generation, he was different. He was the father of Angela, the stepfather of Craig, and the owner of a used car dealership. He tries to get a relationship with Caitlin, but unfortunately she moves away and their relationship sucks. Joey moves to Calgary, basically with Angie in tow. Craig, I think, was supposed to go to Calgary himself, but he was with a band. So basically, yeah, they treated Joey dirty and all that. They treated a lot of the OG guys very dirty and all that, other than Snake and maybe Caitlin, but yeah. Spike was in many seasons of the show. Spike was a student at Degrassi who had Emma in junior high. She's a hairdresser and married to Simpson. She basically is furious with how Snake tried to force Emma to keep a secret that he was being with Hatzalakos during his midlife crisis. Yeah, Spike kind of went downhill a little bit since then. Of course, Spike was criticized in season 3 for, trying to hide Emma's father's identity. I mean, Emma probably might have not wanted Shane around her, that because of his mental deficiencies. But yeah, that happened. So anyway, that's all I've got for the Degrassi Next Generation characters. And soon we'll be Degrassi Next Class characters, see what they were like in 4 seasons of their show. So anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.